Hello everyone, welcome to my Module 8 teaching memo. It was a sad weekend for the world champions. Their touted starting pitchers looked like little leaguers. To start the season, the Yanks and the Sox are sharing almost last place. Dr. Laura has an interview Thursday for the principalship of a public Montessori school. I know Erica in my one of my sections, I can't remember which number, was talking about Montessori schools and how they're moving to get students to acquainted with large-scale testing, which I think is okay, even though it may go counter to the whole Montessori philosophy. But I think it's okay. So Dr. Laura has been taking classes since last summer to be certified as a Montessori administrator once she decided this is what she wanted to do. I feel she's very prepared for the interview, including an entry plan and long-term goals. Well, the holiday season is almost upon us. More about that in the assignment video. Make sure you watch it. As always, I'll start with some housekeeping. This past module, you needed to take your learning targets and then create your select response test to assess mastery of those targets. I would also remind everyone to start looking ahead, as I've reminded you on almost every teaching memo, to completing the vocabulary in your own words, which is due during the last module, and the 3-part analytic summary, which requires you to reflect on the test creation process, to analyze your test results, and then talk about or write about what you learned or what you gained from the EdTPA, the one that you're working on. You also need to use appropriate APA format in both the final baseline survey and the 3-part analytic summary. I've made them available. Someone asked me last week where they're located. You can find them in every module where it says Module 8 here, Performance Assessment Overview. You can find it in Module 9, Appropriate and Inappropriate Test Prep Overview. Scroll down and they're at the bottom of the page. So they're in every module. Remember, there are only 4 weeks left in the semester, and two of the modules are combined because of the 2-week Passover holiday. I'm always concerned about people not participating in the group process of taking and giving feedback on the draft tests. I am giving credit for doing this as part of your final selective response test grade. Therefore, it's important that everyone participate. Remember, what gets graded gets done. Many of you will be tempted to write me that people in your group have not taken your test and given feedback. As the next module ends, I will be writing to those people. And you can also write to them too, I believe, by clicking on the inbox link that's over here in the left-hand column. You should be able to email any of or message any of your classmates from that link. If you can't, let me know, because you should be able to do that. For those of you who are good Samaritans and you finish early, which some of you do, I have a group that finishes early, and I got a group that starts late. And hopefully we can mesh those so people are getting timely feedback on their tests. It won't hurt to give feedback to more than the 5 people. Some of you will want to get credit, A+ credit, and that's fine. A+ is 100, an A distinguished credit is a 95. It won't hurt to give feedback to more than 5 people. Remember, you have to give feedback to 5 people, not just say, hey, thanks for your feedback. That doesn't count as one of your posts. So make sure you give feedback to 5 people. I had some of that I graded the learning target posting, and some people are saying, "Thank you. Hi, Dr. Tom. I'll do what you said." That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for you to give feedback to 5 people, so you're discussing the quality of the product. That's part of the whole assessment for learning process. So remember, give feedback that is actionable. Telling someone their test was wonderful, which a lot of you did, not a lot of you, but many of you did, does not help them make it better. Giving feedback is a skill that is shown to increase student achievement. And in the EdTPA, the task 3 for almost every EdTPA is part of that is giving feedback. So knowing how to do it is important. I have enclosed a article from Wiggins in Module 7, I believe. If you scroll down to Module 8, you'll see Wiggins 7 Keys to Effective Feedback. That's an article where you can click on it and you can download it. So I would recommend that, downloading that article. So just remember, there's a big difference between criticism, which only points out what's wrong. So criticism is not necessarily giving supportive feedback. Supportive feedback would point students in the right direction, so you could answer that third question. Remember the 3 questions: where am I going? Where am I now? How do I close the gap? So this can help students close that gap. I also want to remind you that the Select the Response test answers with feedback is being graded with the modified discussion board rubric, as the last discussion board was. There are only 2 characteristics of quality when you make your initial post and how many responses you make to your classmates. I boldfaced that in the teaching memo, the written portion, the transcript. Because there may not be enough people in your group to make 5 response posts, take and give feedback to someone in another group. And most of you know that already. So, and obviously to make 10 posts, to make at least 9 response posts, you must do this often. I've graded your learning target discussion board and will be giving feedback to those who posted their selected response tests a little later in the DB. That's going to take me some time. But remember, don't post your revised tests until you get feedback from me. Module 8 was on performance assessment, and there was not a mastery assessment given. Shame on Dr. Tom. What I've done in this course, though, is model good performance assessment, from discussing what a quality product looks like, giving rubrics that are clear and student-friendly, having you practice giving supportive feedback that goes beyond nice job type, and allowing you to use that feedback to improve your product. And we're going to talk more about that when we get to grading in Module 10. When we talk to assessment for learning, which is in Module 10. I would recommend that you download the resources in that module, especially the Heidi Andrade article, Assessment in the Service of Learning. And that was one of the assigned readings, and you can download it by clicking on that link, or that'll take you to my Google Docs, and then you can download it from there. So please do that. Also, in this module, you began the test creation process. Everybody seems to be involved. Most everyone followed my instructions to just post your first draft in the discussion board and your answers with feedback in the second discussion board. Those who didn't shall remain nameless. If you posted your test with answers in it, people can't take it. So when you upload it and hand it in to me, some of you posted that later, which is fine, so your classmates can check it, and some of you actually corrected it and made a discussion board post which told them how they did, which is also good. That's not required, but I like it. So keep it up. It appears many of you did not read the item writing guidelines in Chapui et al., pages 136 to 142. Popham, pages 152 to 170, and Clay, pages 13 to 33. That's a great pamphlet. It's old, but it's still relevant. It's called "Is This a Trick Question?" I have made the same corrections in many of your tests, specifically when it comes to the fill-in section. According to Chapui et al., you should write out propositions and leave out the key word, and that key word should be at or near the end of the sentence. And there should be enough information in the sentence that a knowledgeable person could answer the question. Multiple choice items should be in the form of a question, although there was one that I allowed not to do that. And that was the person, I think it was Erica again. Erica, you're getting a lot of shout outs here, where she was comparing and contrasting, so she left 2 blanks and then gave a multiple choice of the 2 options to compare and contrast. So I allowed that. I thought that was an excellent reasoning question. Matching should be in 2 columns, and I also told you how to do that in my test creation video. They also should be similar terms, so you shouldn't have a lot of varied different terms if you're using it for terms. They should be similar. So that's one way to do your matching. And you should also have at least one more option, one more answer choice to avoid process of elimination. People are still struggling with making their targets specific and measurable. Remember, you are creating them as if you are teaching the information in the handbook. And you're also making them so you can make a valid inference of mastery. If you are asking 5 questions on 15 rubrics, if you only have 5 questions to assess 15 rubrics, you're not going to be able to make any kind of inference about if those people have mastered your target. So narrow your targets down so they're measurable. One person had 3 rubrics they were using with 5 questions. I recommended they use 6 questions. So now you have 2 questions for each of those rubrics, which to me, while it probably isn't enough to make a real valid inference, at least you can do it for this exercise. You can, in your 3-part analytic summary, you're going to have to do that. So keep that in mind, that you need to make your targets so they're specific and measurable. Specific means that one piece of information that you can ask questions about, and so you can make a valid inference. There are other ways to write reasoning questions as well. Burkhart has her article on multiple choice questions. Wiggins has his article on what's wrong with bashing state tests. In those, there are ways to do that. What this does is dispel the myth that selective response tests can only assess memorization, which many of you said in your baseline survey or in a previous discussion board, the assessment literacy discussion board. And so now you know that's not true. I will be giving feedback on your draft selective response test this week. I only do it once. I can't give you feedback twice. It's just overwhelming. Some of you wanted feedback twice on your learning targets. I might have done that, but for most of you I can't. I'm moving on now to your selective response test. So be patient. Don't submit it to your second draft till you receive that feedback. I will see you again next Monday.